What is going on, people of the internet? What is going on, y'all? Man, it is already episode 23. I think we broken a record on how fast can you pull off producing a ton of podcasts in the shortest amount of time possible. Today is a very special day, guys, because we have our first repeat guest. That's right. The infamous, the notorious, the genius bot doctor himself, Vince V.G. Wicker, back on the show today. And I'm super pumped for that. Again, episode 23. I'm going to bring him on in a second. But first, you already know how to do it. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you, veterans, for all you've done for us and for the people around the world. We appreciate you. And maybe even more important than that, sorry guys, also a veteran, happy birthday to my dad. Already called him this morning. He's the man. Happy birthday to you, Dad. But back to the show. We are here with a very special guest, Vince V.G. Wicker. And I'm going to bring him on right now. Vince, are you ready? What is going on, man? How's it going?
You didn't think I was going to be here? You thought I was going to be out for coffee?
I was hoping. I was hoping you were here.
No.
This guy is hard to get a track of, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. How's it going?
It is going well, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me again. You're the first repeat guest I've ever had.
We promised to repeat.
We did, right? And we don't break our promises, do we?
No, we don't. We do not. Can't do it.
This is going to be a fun one because, guys, Vince is here with a digital bag of tricks, which is what I'm going to refer to it as, a digital bag of tricks. Got an incoming call. We're going to have to delete that. Jeez. So, Vince, why don't you tell us what you have been up to since the last time on the show?
What we've been up to is we've rolled out a product. Actually, we had it going in parallel to the last time we were on the show because we wanted to talk about some of the more technical stuff the last time we had the conversation. What I've been working on is just kind of like right sizing and tuning an application we built in the ManyChat store. When the ManyChat store first rolled out a couple weeks before the Conversations event, we deployed an app to the ManyChat store. That was when there were maybe 4 apps. And what we ended up doing is building an app that was like hooked ManyChat into Shopify and really did that. Now, people were a little confused when I started beta testing it with a lot of people and looking at it because they thought, well, I thought ManyChat already connected to Shopify.
Right.
And it does, but one of the things we realized, it doesn't connect to Shopify really until after people get to a Shopify store. I mean, this is super critical. Now, you definitely could, hard code all your information about your store and your collections and your tags, basically the stuff that you want, maybe not necessarily the stuff that your bot members want.
For context, because we're already on some advanced stuff over here, and you're already blowing people's minds already. We're first 30 seconds. When you're talking about hard coding things, sometimes it's necessary, at least in my experience. How long do you think it would take the average user of ManyChat or a similar platform to hard code what you've turned into an app in essence? The value there is immense, and I want to make sure people understand how much time are they saving with your tool versus trying to do everything themselves the hard way, I call it.
I'll tell you honestly, if they had 2 products in their store, it'd be a net
sure
wash.
2 products, sure.
Right. So if you actually have an apparel store where you have style, color, size, different colors, different sizes, and you have multiple products, multiple collections, multiple categories, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. Now, there are some tools that people can do to do some sort of like a semi-hard coding where you can load in data into a Google Sheet and kind of run at it.
Google Sheets, man.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of the Google Sheet unless it's something really static, but that's that's totally, up to the average bear. But the point really is, I think you're probably, if you're taking a look at the average apparel store or shoe store, this will
change the game, right?
It completely changes the game. It's not really about, it's about changing it, not only about the setup, it's really about the ongoing maintenance. So if you take something out of a collection, if you put something into a collection, if you add another product or another tag, we're dynamically going in and searching by tag, by collection, by product, and or by date of when it came into the store, all that dynamically, and it's pushed across in dynamic gallery. We don't have to use a Google sheet. We don't have to use any other product. We just use this product, and it's all tied directly into ManyChat. It's just a ManyChat action. You click it down and you say, do I want to select a product? Do I want to select anything that product starts with? So, or if I want to select a product or category that has gifts in it, or a product that has gifts in it, it could be Father's Day for, let's talk about your dad's birthday, or you could have birthday. So some people have categories and collections set up in their Shopify store. It's completely dynamic, and it completely just pops the store right into the bot. And that's the reason that's important, is because it allows people to go dynamically through your catalog and for you to effectively track what they're doing and tag what they've looked for and what they're after. And the cool thing about it is we built buttons that go right back into your Shopify store. So as soon as they click on that button, they can either go buy it in the Shopify store, it'll put it in the cart and take you directly to checkout for like a nice single promotion, or you'll go right to the store where, boom, automatically you're pixeled.
Boom.
And boom, automatically you can use the ManyChat conversion pixel. So it's just all built in. We don't think the ManyChat functionality is bad. We think that,
not by any means, right?
We think that it actually we encourage people to use it, but we think that how cool is it to get people to your store via ManyChat before they have to go to your store. And
we'll get into that piece, and that's huge. And I want to kind of paint that picture for those, because there's going to be a lot of business owners that local and afar, I know for sure, that are watching these episodes, are catching bits and pieces, and they're trying to actually take this advice that I provide or the guests provide and actually use it. But a lot of times I'll get the question, saw the whole episode, watched the part I was interested in a couple of times, still don't understand what the heck you're talking about, Ryan. I'm going to paint you guys the layman's view picture of what Vince here has done, because it is incredible. Imagine you have a website with 100 products with different variants, because you have smalls, mediums, largest, extra largest sizes, t-shirts maybe. You have a t-shirt business. Facebook has a native feature which might be turned on your page, called icebreakers. We just released the same feature, the powerful feature, Untitled Table. But icebreakers are common on menus. They're common on Messenger for restaurants and retail stores. In the restaurant world, you'll get the common question, can I see a menu? I've talked about this before. In the retail world, they may have a pre-populated question related to the sale of a physical good. When you have a large Facebook presence, or you're running any sort of ad with a decent budget, the odds are you're going to get blown up in Messenger. And so what are you going to do? Are you, as a business owner, going to be responding to these people, sending them links to your products or to your store, to your homepage? Like, that's the lazy way. Are you going to hire someone, a community management person or an agency, to field all of these leads? How are you going to effectively send them to the product they want? If they say, I want the red shirt with the black check marks all over the front, right? Like, your system can understand the product exists. Is that pretty much right? Did I nail it?
Yeah, and it even gets better. Like, so not only can we push them to catalogs and buttons to quick navigate, we've actually built AI into it. So we can actually, when you type in a product, it'll search a product type by the title. It's not going to be perfect, but it needs to be trained. But it'll go and search the product by a title and bring back a product, like 1, 2, or 3 products that go to the title, because we knew that people weren't going to be satisfied with just pressing buttons.
No, is that based on the Shopify tags themselves, or do you have something internal with your?
We can go
just pulling through.
our query goes out using AI. We actually use Facebook's AI.
And a lot of people don't know Facebook has their own AI, and it's good.
Right. So we actually use the company they purchased, Wit.ai.
Mm-hmm.
We go out and punch out, and when somebody asks for a particular product by title, we go pull that product back, and if there's more than one, like I said, it pulls it back in a gallery. They can select it, go check it out, or go to the store, or just do whatever. One of the things I wanted to talk about for retailers, one of the really cool ways that we implemented this for one of our customers. It's a company called Rugby Imports. And Rugby Imports, which I definitely encourage you, they're just a wonderful group of people here in Rhode Island, but they sell rugby gear, and rugby is an international sport. And so there's a lot of country rivalry and whatnot. So we ran an ad. We ran a messenger ad, and we asked people to check what their favorite team or favorite national team was. And so once somebody went through the ad, the JSON ad, they hit their team. Let's say it was Australia. That Australia went to a flow where that became an action that looked up Australia, and it pulled up all the Australia. It pulled up all the Australia products, and they could pick from all the Australia products. And then they had a chance. Maybe they could look at New Zealand. Maybe they could look at Ireland, and they can do that. But it let them choose their own adventure and go through the store and ask all the questions that they needed to have to get all the way through it. And the reason that's really important when I brought up the ad is because a lot of people run a lot of ads on Facebook for Shopify.
Right.
And
it's necessary to run ads. If you're running a serious Shopify business and you're not running ads, you're missing out.
Right. But see, when you're running messenger ads versus a conversion ad, there's schools of thought between both of them. But when you're top of funnel, the conversion ad is going to be more expensive than the stay on platform messenger ad. So get this. Now we're basically bringing somebody on platform into your messenger bot, choosing your product. They will go to your Shopify store via messenger after they go through this whole thing. And now you're pixeled. And now if you're running dynamic catalog ads and all this other stuff, or even if you're retagging them to bring them up on Google for Google Shopping, this becomes like a superpower that people didn't have. And the fact that you can do it so quickly, the fact that it's just, you go in, you ask the questions, and you go through this. You ask a couple questions. Do you want to search by tag? Do you want to search by title? Do you want to search by AI text? Do you want to search by collection? And have people check from different things. You do it. And we've really built this with a lot of our beta customers to create flows and templates that really make sense, so people don't get lost in this endless catalog. There's always a way to get out. There's always a way to do more. And it's probably been one of the coolest things. And one of the things that we're really happy about is the fact that how smoothly it works, because we built really, really deep integration into Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and this after the fact point that you're making here, the way that the current ManyChat functionality works is that you can't engage with Messenger and Shopify until after they get to the store. We think that if we can get you earlier at top of funnel, you can still do that work, but it's going to be a lot better. And the other thing that I pushed an article out about this a couple of months ago. The other thing that I found is that, quite honestly, the reality is that Shopify is not really a mobile app.
Right.
Okay. Everybody thinks that Shopify is a mobile app, and it's not. And what does that mean? It means that it's slower to load. When you put all this fancy stuff and all these spinners and all this whatever, and it comes up on mobile, it's slow. We did research. We looked at about 2,500 Shopify stores, and we ran them through Google's,
speed test, right?
Search responsive test.
Sure.
And we just ran them. I ran it for 2 days, and I just hit every one of them. And then I pulled the reports, and I was stunned at how slow the loading time was for some of these stores. Some of these stores are like 30 seconds, 90 seconds. And it just, if somebody clicks on an ad and it takes 90 seconds for your store to load, That's
You've lost them.
money.
Right. You know, I want to speak on Shopify a little bit because I love Shopify, man. And I'll tell you, I was one of those people for many, many years. It's the last platform I was going to ever touch. Guys, they are the Google of Canada, and for a reason. They just hit, a huge milestone this year, last year. Over 1 million Shopify stores have been launched. I've seen some real money made with these Shopify stores, guys. It's serious money. Shopify can do an excellent job. Now, here's where the gotcha comes from, okay? At least in my experience. While their themes are awesome and beautiful, they're pretty expensive even in their general store where you can buy themes, the look and feel of your website. As soon as you do anything additional, slow, just like he's saying, and not the best SEO even. You can be using all of their native tools, and it's like the first version of WordPress, man. It's so old school, like really and truly how it functions, but it's $29, and they offer a lot of great shopping functionality. That's what you're paying for. To make it work and have a fast, efficient Shopify website, just like other platforms out there, guess what? You are required. It's not a written rule. It's an unwritten rule. You're required to use apps. You're required to use tools that are provided to optimize your images, to optimize your pages, to optimize your SEO. And it's necessary. Now, I found that there are some apps you don't necessarily need to keep. Shogun, for example, I use that one. It's like $39 a month. Worth it, because I'd rather work in a builder than write code for all of the pages, for example. Now, when I'm done with those pages, done with that app, because it's not providing me any additional value, but they're getting the same money. What Vince's app is doing here, guys, it's transforming what Messenger can do, and also what your website can do if they are there, because you've got the chat functionality plug in with MiniChat, right? And even if they're not on a product page, theoretically, they could message. Got another call coming. Geez, they could message your client's page and say, "Do you have the red shirt?" You pull the red shirt even before they've navigated to one page. Is that pretty fair?
Yes, and not only can we do that navigation and that speed, is the fact when you look at the fact that, let's say I pull up the red shirts, let's say I pull up all the red shirts, it's dynamic galleries. It's like if you have more than 10, we'll just keep bringing them as much as you want. And we're not using anything like Integromat or anything like that. We're just using native Shopify functionality. And what we're able to do is like bring all that back at speed. But here's the cool thing about it. Even when you're offline, you can still go back and look at the products in that store. You know, people don't have to. But when you're offline, off the internet,
you're not seeing it.
You can't go to that Shopify store and look at it.
That's something I've not ever thought of.
A lot of people want to see the stuff they have and engage and look and see some of the products and dig a little deeper. You know, the speed, you know, and I didn't really finish the whole thought. The real thing about Shopify is not a mobile app, but Messenger is. Messenger has a whole team of people dedicated to making Messenger the fastest, most responsive mobile app it could possibly be in the framework of the security that Facebook really puts out there. So that means that now you have responsiveness in seconds, in seconds to get where you want to get. When we timed what it took to check out, to go and get to a page, actually get to a Shopify page via our app in Messenger versus going from the web and getting to that page on mobile, we timed them out. We saw a 25-second gap getting to checkout. And when you look at that ability, so now let's go back and look at this. If you have a very slow page to load, you're going to start losing people, and your quality score for your ad is going to start going down. So if you have on platform, people are responsive and engaging and doing everything they need to do, you have the ability to personalize and do everything, your CPA at top of funnel is going to go exactly where you need it to be, low. And then you also have the ability now you can retarget either via a custom audience you can build right in MiniChat with Messenger, or by then getting all the way to your store, retargeting them, creating another custom audience and following up, and creating subsequent flows to follow up to tell them even more things about your Australia gear and your top selling Australia gear through the natural things inside of Messenger. And so right now, we're coupling that with some other add-on services we do for order updates. The biggest problem I see around Messenger, ManyChat's functionality, and some of the pop-ups that you have to engage with in the ManyChat framework in Shopify isn't on mobile. It's pretty intrusive.
And it's always, in my opinion, kind of like a fine line of how much do you intrude into your customer or potential customer's life. For a long time, I was in a big way against text messaging customers for the longest time. Up until about 2 years ago, I don't think in my mind, it was even a question. Now, the omni-channel approach that we all have to take now requires that we offer text message marketing services for those that would like to opt in. Obviously, they must opt in. Wherever that customer wants to be met, that's where you need to be ready to go, right? So I think the answer is no, but I think that the answer will also be when it's ready, you'll be ready. I think a lot of people are waiting for Instagram automation capabilities, and I know they're limited currently. Does your solution currently work with Instagram, or do you have plans for it to work with Instagram when that feature is available if it's not already?
What we want to do is that we haven't really started developing down that path. What we want to do is make sure that we understand what that integration looks like. I fully expect different limits to be placed upon what we can do in Instagram versus Messenger, and I fully expect to try to understand the user experience. Everyone's just happy with Messenger, just like slamming and spamming, and I want to make it a value added. I want to make it a value added approach towards this because that's where the goal is. I mean, 100%. I think the best thing for us to do right now is to take a very good look at how Facebook shops are working, and just seeing and just seeing what that model could be. But I think right now, when you look at the ability of Messenger to really spin things up and do things for you at a top of funnel, follow up, Messenger, and speed, I think in the intrusiveness thing, every ad I've ever started really to do, I either start an ad for every device or just mobile. And everybody talks about the world's going mobile. I see most of these abandoned cart pop-ups really being most effective on desktop. And
I think so you've hit something very important. While I agree with you, I think the shopper who is on desktop or a laptop, guys, typically, and depending on the industry, I guess, and what they're buying, a pop socket versus anything of like higher ticket value, more serious shopping is going to happen on desktop. Now, I think that's still shifting. I'd be one of those people that think it's shifting,
and you're going to see it shift as more people stay home during the this situation in which we're homebound for a lot, where e-commerce has grown more in 4 months than it has in 4 years, almost maybe in 10. But what I definitely see is, if we could tacitly agree that the pop-ups are best for desktop, but at the same time, out of the same, the other side of their face, everyone's telling us that you need to focus only on mobile. Like, don't lie to me and say that this intrusiveness is going to work on mobile. You have to have a way to get them into your web via mobile in a way that's smooth and user friendly, to get people into your web via Messenger without having to pop up and offer this and offer that on mobile. And I think that we're fooling ourselves if we're thinking about the speed of mobile. We talked about the intrusiveness of some of these things on mobile, but if it's more appropriate to desktop, but if we can do it all better in Messenger,
1,000%.
Totally awesome.
Now, guys, I know that most people that watch this show probably are familiar with this function, but I'm actually going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys what Tap the Table does in the way Vince's app that works with another platform called ManyChat works so well. And Vince, if you want to provide a link for people to check out the app itself or check out an example of what the app does, any demos, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll be sure to drop them in the comments.
I don't have the app up and running now because I have it running on a test net today.
Sure.
But we could talk to any of our customers who are using it, and they'd be happy to probably to show some of it. But where we have we do have information and videos on our on the website. If you went to the ManyChat App Store and looked up Messenger Sales Kit for Shopify, you'd be able to go to a link that will take you to our sales page that walks you through a video that discusses all the things it can do.
And we'll talk about the deal you're going to offer, but first you're going to search for the Messenger Sales Kit on the ManyChat App Store, guys. That's what you're going to want to look for. But we'll get into this deal because Vince came through with gifts. Santa Claus came early. But really quick, what I'm going to do is show you guys in essence how this works visually. Like, I'm a visual person. I have to see it to believe it. I have to see it to understand it. And so I'm going to do a quick demo here. Man, this Restream thing's fancy. I got 3 screens. Look how fancy we are.
Look at that.
In this case, we're going to take a look at an active Tap the Table chatbot we've got installed for one of my favorite clients, one of the first clients to believe in what Tap the Table is at scale, and that's Stoner's Pizza Joint. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to just simply ask a question. I want a pepperoni pizza, like, something like this. And in your case, it might not be, it's not going to be food. It'll be a Shopify product. So it could be a polo t-shirt. Maybe it's a black polo t-shirt or a white polo t-shirt. In this case, I'm going to say I want a pepperoni pizza. This is Facebook Messenger. This is what he's saying. Shopify is not an app. Most restaurants do not have apps. The bigger ones do. This is better than most apps. I would totally race against any company out there. If y'all are watching me, I know some companies try to watch this stuff and try to learn. I'll race a person or a company or an app to try to order a pepperoni pizza faster than you can on Messenger. And then once you've ordered it once, my one tap order feature, clutch. Or what if we say I want wings, right? What wings do you have? What wings do you have? And these are questions that, like I said, if you're running ads, you could get this question hundreds and hundreds of times a day. Now, some of these are going to have specials here. Here's my wings. Super easy to add to the cart. Have my little sauce here. Everything is good. And your system works the same exact way, Vince, for retail items that are already placed in the Shopify website ecosystem. And that pretty much it.
It's pretty much it. We don't actually use a web view. We, based upon how we have integrated into the Shopify tool, we don't really need the web view in ours.
Not necessary, right?
Because the complexity of ordering from a restaurant, makes everything else pale in comparison. And so what Tap the Table has been able to do, I mean, if you go to any website, they'll have you scan and a website comes up, and the website is just not made for mobile. It's not that. And the ability for Messenger with its, you can control the background, the color and everything of each product to see it. I don't know why more places haven't done it. A lot of them kind of cheaped out and just using a QR code to get to a website when they should be all using Messenger.
It's like to me, it is a serious no-brainer. But who are we kidding? A lot of Tap the Table was thought of by you, Mister. So don't. I think that although your Shopify tool is rocking, your genius is just so much better served to the masses by just sharing the knowledge. I think with Facebook's new paid video feature, you should be charging $99 every time you go do a video because you've solved like 1,000 people's problems this year. And I think I'm probably the only one besides maybe one or two that I actually paid anything, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, they're cheap in this world. In this builder world, they're cheap, man, or they don't have any money. What's going on? I don't know.
What I'm going to start doing, actually, I'm doing some really interesting stuff. I'm actually going to start publishing some really interesting stuff around the APIs and some other stuff for regular people. But my goal, actually, sounds crazy, is to have it all be free.
Really?
And yes, because there are people who have great courses, basic courses and next level courses because they understand the interactivity of the app and the business. I'm talking about what Kelly and what McKinsey have done, in terms of understanding that. And I think those are amazing things. But they what those things do is like they answer some basic questions.
Right.
I want to ask a little harder question, and see if I can help answer some other questions that make more sense for a lot of people. So that's really what I'm really going to go after, because I think that it's going to add more value and it's going to make the bot builder community much stronger, because it's not all behind it's all not behind the curtain. Now I have ulterior motives. I always do. But if there are actually, I'm giving away these courses for free. I'm working with a group of people who are doing a lot around helping people in third world countries, earn a decent wage, get clean water, get clean air. And my giving it away is actually helping those people. So that's really why I'm really getting into this, space from that perspective. We can talk about that at a different time because I think it's really cool. But this whole "I got a secret, I'm smarter than you" thing it's for the birds.
It really is, man.
If people want to do that, or when you go back and offer a service out to somebody, we as bot builders are more tinkerers. I mentioned this earlier this week, and not really, and think they can all do it. But I would submit that if somebody can go into Shopify dynamically, pull back catalogs, tags, select collections, AI text, based search, take you to the checkout, take you to the store, run conversions, give you ads and give you templates, and they can do that versus just saying, hey, they do some basic,
I'll connect this and connect that.
Yeah, that is unsupportable beyond having them hang out around the basket for the rest of your useful life. Go for it. Right. But if they want to have some fun and do some really good stuff, that's what we're here for. And I'm really focusing on more advanced stuff because I just don't have the cycles to deal with. Like, hey,
how do you exactly all the things. There's so much I could ask you and just keep going and going and going with. I want to talk about the thing that no one wants to talk about, which is bands. I want to talk about what your thoughts are on that. I want to talk about.
I have thoughts.
Just like so many things, I think that it's still, we need to watch and see before we really, because I thought so many times I had to answer. Like I thought my theory was correct. I thought I knew this is why it's happening. I'm still kind of sure, but man, it's the Wild West, man. I think that sums it up. Like there's no telling what is going to happen in the space from day to day, but it's fun to me. If there's a challenge, we're going to overcome it. Right. I mean, that's what you've done. I can only imagine going against Tap the Table back in January if I didn't have it. And the same thing with what your solution provides. If back in January when we really were like solving all the gangster problems back then, because we were, you and I, we were. If your solution had existed back then and you didn't come up with it, how much time do you think we would have saved this year with technology like that, man? It's just you took the Gary Vee model and put someone like yourself out of business by using a tool like this, because you used to solve problems not with an app this way, but in the same sense for people, right? You solved all the problems.
Right. We do, we spend a lot of time doing integration. We do it. It'll help integration, a lot of people do things. But we've really tried to focus our work in on, really adding real value, using AI where we can, using the tools and deeper integration. I think conversational marketing is a really, it's a really, it's a gift to be able to be in here and to be able to facilitate conversations with people. And, shame on the people who screw it up by just
disregard of rules.
Not even disregarding rules, but just
the customer themselves, like you're just totally spamming them, right? As you mentioned.
Yeah.
Right?
People don't want to hear, like, I tell you that, like, I can honestly tell you that for all the people that try to spam me, I do not want to hear about your food bot this morning. But why did everybody spam me about it?
Oh God, man, I'm so with you, man. I feel like at some point you give so much that when you don't get it back, it just hurts a little bit, man. Like for me, you've solved so many problems for myself and so many other people. Like if I was still use ManyChat, if I still did and needed an app, I would get your app just to support you, man. I think that really is a thing lacking in the community in a lot of ways. It's the 90,000 group here, 60,000 group membership here. At the end of the day, I think there's probably 1,000 bot builders that are any good, 100 that are gangster, and then there's the top 10, and then there are people in the shadows, like in between whoever's the best builder out there, whoever that is, to the person that would qualify as you're a professional, you're not. I've been getting the real gangsters like Vince VG Wicker, like Kelly Noble, like all these folks I've had on this show. I've been getting them to come out of the shadows, man. I talked to the CEO of Walletly last night, and that dude is a genius, man. And I haven't talked to him like at all here. We'll talk offline about this. He's got some interesting stuff going on. Do you deal with, can Walletly and Shopify work together? I'm not too familiar with that platform yet. I'm learning, but do they have anything in common? Can they work together or not really?
Capabilities. I think the capabilities that Rupert and his team have put together definitely have feathering endpoints where you can put it into your solution. They do have if put in the right way, they do have a way to enable notifications via Shopify using their notification system versus the pure app notification system.
Now, are those two notifications totally different?
Yeah, their notifications aren't SMS, they aren't Messenger, they aren't anything, and you can manage that. Excuse me, you can manage that as a bot builder without having to worry to run afoul to pay for SMS or to worry about getting banned by Messenger or being able to reach out to people after a certain window. So there are some definite advantages to that, and I think that there's a lot of people who work with Walletly who know how to pull some of those off. At the same time that I think those messenger marketing experts guys, I think one of their wallet setups is a way to do it. I think that
you got to pay like $1,200 for them to tell you something though.
Well, I mean, they're trying to focus on what they do best. I can appreciate that. They're gonna focus on what they do best, and they only want to deal with people who have the time and energy and dedication to really work with them. The
thing that the $1,200 safeguards is if someone's paying $1,200 to you to learn something, they're going to be serious about learning it. That's all I can say about that. For me, I just don't know if for someone like me, the value wouldn't be there. It wouldn't work for me. It wouldn't work. You would never take a program like that unless they're giving you clients that like make up for that absurd price. But again, it safeguards them from dealing with so many crappy users or clients potentially. Like there are some clients in this space where I don't want to deal with them. It's not worth the money to deal with the hassle. That's a real thing. Like before I got into business, I never even considered there to be a bad client out there or a bad customer because all the money was the same. That's not the case, man.
But you know what? You don't get that. You don't there are some people who are just difficult to deal with. Their personality problems are going to exist in small businesses just because some small business owners, that's just the last place they can go to make money,
right?
Or hang out with people.
And that's where Kelly's PIA fee comes in. Shout out to Kelly.
But what you have to realize that until you have a process, like a bulletproof process,
Mm-hmm.
they're all difficult. So it took me a while to understand what my process was to onboard somebody, to get them going, to keep them moving, and to talk about this. And if any place in the process that I've refined over the last 4 years, they start falling out, I look at them very hard because I value every relationship I do. And then if we have to go, I just say, look, we're not going to renew. I just don't have the cycles because I have a lot more things to do than deal with this. Because, I believe in like high value client relationships, and if they're going to be low value client relationships, they're going to require lower touch.
Right.
And if I'm going to have lower touch, and you're going to spend all my time, then
sayonara.
Yep. It's a and I think there's a lot of people out there who want to jump into, somebody mentioned something on like a group. Hey, I need a bot builder. You're just going to unleash the masses at you.
It's like in my area, and I'm sure in yours too. I'm sure of it actually. It's like we have these Facebook groups, and people will drop in. Oh, we're looking to move into Hilton Head area. We're looking to move to Bluffton. We're looking for a realtor. It's like 2,000 realtors in Beaufort County or in Hilton Head MLS. And like, there's a buddy of mine who he publicly gambled. He was like, "Wow, 170 comments in 10 minutes. I'll bet you, $100 in the stream will hit 300 by lunchtime." Went way past 300, man. These realtors out here, it's crazy for real estate agents right now. Matter of fact, it's so crazy, they are coming to tap the table too. It's not even designed for them.
No. I'm getting people. I'm getting realtors coming to me for Messenger.
Yeah, man. They're getting digitally smart, and so I had some people in different groups I hired recently to design some funnel starters. That there's some actually real estate funnel starters in Tap the Table. I never in a million years thought that would exist. Yeah. When we were talking about Tap the Table, we never did we ever think about selling houses, only hamburgers. People can do anything now. Anything that they want to be, anything they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. I want to know, what is your goals for the rest of 2020, and do you have any big things for us to be looking out for in 2021?
Well, in 2021, we're going to continue on enhancing Messenger Sales Kit for Shopify.
Of course. And
really move most of my services practice to really advanced AI for e-commerce or AI for real customer interaction. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm seeing it where there's some really great white space in terms of AI in conversational marketing. Especially it's going to relate to services outside of your bot world. There's some apps around, like CRM apps like Go High Level, Lion Desk, and some other ones that AI incorporated into real conversation that doesn't involve Messenger. You really have to think about how you want to answer and integrate and provide people results. It separates the wheat from the chaff really quickly.
1,000%. I just saw really quickly, because I actually remember to look at the comments section this time. We do have Deepak, my man, who was on an episode a couple episodes ago. He was on. He says, yes, I definitely agree. The bots are a lot better than apps. And so for someone that just is tuning in, they've missed all of our bomb dropping over here, bomb dropping, should I say?
Value bomb dropping.
Bomb dropping.
It's the wrong time of year to be talking about bomb dropping.
Well, I guess so. Geez, let's pretend we didn't say that. Facebook didn't shut this stream down. The Facebook police are going to come get me. But what do you think for someone that understands totally what an app is, because they have a bunch on their phone? They're a business owner. They own a retail shop. What would you tell them if they said to you, well, what is the difference, or what is the benefit, the pro, the con of me having my own app versus using Messenger? To me, the answer is easy. Well, which one do you want to do? Inconvenience a big portion of your customers by saying, hey, I know that zero of you have my store's app, but I'm going to put an app on the app store for you to search for it and download it. Or do you just use Messenger? Right. That's been my philosophy. But in your own words, what would you say to someone that's on the fence? Do I get the app on the app store to get it downloaded, or do I utilize Messenger? What do you think is the slam dunk here?
Unless you have real volume, unless you're, let's say,
real volume. Let's define that now.
Real volume, like your Domino's, right?
Sure.
your Domino's or
If
something
your
like that.
Domino's needs at the table because they can't do anything at the local level. Boom.
Unless you have real volume for what you're doing, or you have like a massive YouTube channel with like 1 million people, and you want to slam those people into an app, and you want to do things on a regular basis that you can't do in Messenger. I would say that, just look at the stats. I think a while back, the average install rate for apps was the net average install rate for apps on iPhones for a while back. There was 1 to 0%. That means there are more being uninstalled than were being installed.
Wow.
Right?
So
when you look at that, like, and if it's not robust and it's not adding any more value than just giving you money, it's not really worth it. And it's very difficult for people to say, well, I'll make a web app that will mimic, and work on the phone just like that. That's a challenge unto itself, because if you, when you use your own app, when you use a web app, the problem is keeping up with all the OS updates, because it just gets spun out of date that quickly. I had a friend of mine who spent most of his startup development time trying to chase different OS updates, and when most people on Android aren't all the way updated, but most people on Apple are, you got to support both, and there's a whole lot of work. It's getting a lot better, but right now I do that.
Well, I couldn't agree more with that. And I'll say, I used to just be so hungry for new features and permissions and the new shiny object. And like now, luckily, it's all at the point where we're coasting. I'm not looking for anything additional. If a new update comes out, great. If I have to adapt to it to change things, cool. But I'm not like necessarily looking forward to any new functionalities or features. What I am looking forward to is more of the population here in America and across the world really utilizing the QR code 2.0, baby. NFC, my favorite. Like, that's the thing. I think for even retail, it will be ended up being huge. And so my camera has got no signal. Gosh darn it!
They just rolled out this this NFC on the new iOS. Have you seen that? Like this right here. It's set up down here, and this right here is allowing more NFC right out of the gate.
Did you have the QR code next to that? Can you show me that screen again? I don't have that on my phone.
This right here on the
pull down part. Yeah, I see. Yep, that's so cool. See, like where you have that NFC button. That's I have. Yep, that's exactly. I have the QR code scanner there, but on my phone it's built in, I guess. That's so cool.
Yeah, because you may have a newer one, but this is an iPhone X, iPhone 10, and so that's so really cool. It's all the way there, and so that's available. As a matter of fact, I took one of the NFC codes that we were working on with Tap the Table, and I'm actually trying to figure out. I put it on my new laptop as a way for people to find it. And
that's awesome.
Let's see how that works.
Have you tried any of the NFC? Just for do you have any electronics in your house that are considered like smart home electronics, like any light bulbs or anything like that? Because you know what, that's what they're really doing with NFC overseas. What they're doing is they've got the NFC tags. They're all unique, right? And you can tag them anything you want uniquely. So they got them all over their house and in their cars. And so they're in the kitchen, for example, and they tap their phone, and that triggers their lights in the living room to come on, the AC to hit the perfect temperature. Maybe the TV turns on in their cars. They're tapping something on their window that only is unique to their phone, something along those lines. I don't know what the exact is, but they're able to just pop open the doors, tap it again on their like dashboard. Now their car's turned on. Like the contactless thing was coming, but way before COVID was even a word. It's just been inching its way here, and now I think it's been catapulted.
I think it's definitely there. I think that that's why if you take a look at IFTTT, if this then that, one of the reasons that their pricing model has changed because they're getting heavy use in that space, the smart home space. It used to be just for SEO and cool, WYSIWYG type of things.
Just try to get the rich people.
And that's why they've changed their pricing model to do that, because that is taking off. because if you go to this, if you scan something, if this then that, if I scan it, then turn on the lights. If the light turns on, turn on the AC. If the AC turns on, and it's like this daisy chain sequence that would occur.
Exactly. And as marketers, we're thinking, if they tap the table to look at the menu, then send them an email 24 hours later asking them about their experience. If they open that email,
ways to get reviews.
1,000%. If they open that email and don't leave a review, hit them up in 2 days with a coupon. Make them feel guilty they didn't leave you the review, and then I'll bet you'll get a better review than you would have gotten in the first place, right? If then that statement is what I live by these days.
All right.
So I know you got a call coming up.
I do have a call coming up, and but this kind of conversation is really good, and so I'm glad we had a chance to have this.
Yes, dude, you can anytime you want, man. I'll just like every time I go live from now on one of these podcasts, I'm just going to send you a link beforehand, and if you decide to pop in, you're just going to get zapped in, dude.
Get me in a good mood.
Oh yeah, dude. Like find you on a Friday night where you might have had a little sip of some wine or something. Yeah, let's get into the podcast and we'll have some real fun, dude. Yeah, look at him smiling, ladies and gentlemen. He's smiling. He's already envisioning the things we'll talk about with the shadow chatbot people.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, lastly, I want to say thank you so much. You are the man. Guys, hit him up. Please be sure that you go to the ManyChat app store if you're using ManyChat and search for his product. It is awesome for Shopify users.
When you go to our sales site, you won't see it as 26 a month.
No, you won't find that anywhere. You got to go straight to this.
Just reach out to either Ryan or myself. But let me explain to you, like I'm doing the 26 a month because a lot of people don't want to pay $200 up front and $9.99 a month, right? Obviously it could add up higher, if you want to do that, and we could probably figure something out after a certain point. But this is just a really easy way for people to get in and do this because we're loading in new functionality all the time, and it's a really cool way to give back a little.
Yes, for sure. Man, I sure do appreciate it. You are a legend, dude. Thank you so much, and hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll chat with you here in a little bit. Guys, thank you so much for joining Vince and I. You can find him in the ManyChat community groups and all their groups, and in basically any chat marketing group. He's even in the Dialogue Flow group. He's an Integromat master. He taught me about Integromat. He knows Zapier. He knows, there's Josh Fletcher, who's going to be a podcast guest soon. That guy's an API king for sure. Shout out to him. But Vince is an API guru, man. Like the people that you see on this show, guys, they're either business owners or real deal marketing guru. They're the real ones, or they don't make it to this show. I promise you that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Be on the lookout. I might have another podcast later on today. I'm feeling it. Today, we might go and do a twofer. Lots of awesome guests. Pretty much every day the rest of the week. Get ready. It's going down all the way through Monday. And then I'm going to have to take a break. We're going to just go hard in the paint, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching the ChatBot Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ryan Baggett. Have a great rest of your day.